Pat Narduzzi, you must love this scheduling approach. Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, looking over the Pitt Panthers schedule. It's the 21st most difficult in the nation as we rank all the schedules from 70 all the way up to number 1. And Pitt typically never scheduled difficult opponents non-conference up until a couple years ago. Yes, they played Iowa twice in recent years. They would schedule the one Power 5 game against typically not an elite program. But suddenly, Pitt has taken a different approach. Last year, they took on Penn State and Oklahoma State. In the season before, the same thing. They had both Penn State and Oklahoma State, maybe not anticipating that Penn State would rise from a marginal mid-tier Big Ten program up until just a few years ago to the nation's elite. But now Pitt, with the addition of Notre Dame and the contract that they have with the ACC, gets a rough go here in 2018 as Pat Narduzzi tries to get back to postseason play after winning just 5 games last year. The non-conference schedule for Pitt: Albany, okay, throw that game out September 1st. They win against Albany. Okay, besides that, Penn State the next week at home. Central Florida on the road September 29th, a very difficult game. Notre Dame on the road October 13th. Those are the 4 non-conference games for Pitt this year. That might be the most difficult non-conference schedule in the nation. Penn State, Central Florida, and Notre Dame. Penn State and Notre Dame, 2 of the top 10 teams in the nation, and also Central Florida, who's going to be not quite what they were last year, but still a top 25 to 40 team that Pitt will have to play this year. The only thing that weights down this schedule has nothing to do with Pitt's schedule and their tactics in scheduling. It has to do with the ACC. Pitt, of course, plays everyone in the Coastal Division. They go out and play Syracuse and Wake Forest, 2 of the lighter touches from the Atlantic Division. No Clemson, no Florida State, Louisville, North Carolina State. Wake Forest has been good the last 2 years. Syracuse with Virginia, the 2 worst programs in the conference. So Pitt gets a bit of a breather there with Syracuse and Wake Forest out of division to try to compensate somewhat for Notre Dame, Penn State, and Central Florida out of conference. The toughest stretch of the season, even though you've got those 3 non-conference games, they don't come in a row. They're spaced out. So the most difficult stretch of the season comes at the end of the season with Virginia Tech, Wake Forest on the road, and Miami to conclude 2018. That's Pat Narduzzi's challenge for this fall. Penn State, North Carolina, Penn State, Central Florida, and Notre Dame in the non-conference, as well as the ACC slate for the Pitt Panthers. We're ranking all the schedules. We'll come back after this series with previews and predictions on everyone in the Power 5 right here at Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football.